And live, he's alive. Hey guys, how are y'all doing? Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome to Cliff Notes Live, the last Cliff Notes of October. Tomorrow night's Halloween. We also have an episode of Big Brother. Oh, it's going to be fantastic. I can see it now. Kids are going to be coming up the door. I'm going to be yelling, no candy for you kids. I got to watch Big Brother tonight. Nah, I'll take care of the kids. Hope y'all are doing fantastic. Welcome again to another evening of Cliff Notes Live. A lot of Big Brother to talk about. I want to get y'all's opinions on some of the stuff that's been going on. Yeah, it's been a crazy 24 hours or so. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Before we get into Big Brother and anything else y'all want to talk about, I just want to quickly say, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, turning on notifications, and you give a little thumbs up as well while you're at it, because we've got 9 days left of Big Brother. I do my morning recaps. Then, of course, I'll continue to do this show every Monday. But if you turn on notifications, then whatever I do next, and I'm not sure what that's going to be. Well, I know what's going to be. I'm going to take a nap. And then after that, I'll do some more videos. Maybe we'll pick up some other show. If y'all got some other suggestions, let me know, because I'm kind of open right now to it. But welcome to all of y'all. Those of you who are watching live, those of you who are watching on replay as well. I don't want to forget y'all either. Hope y'all are all doing fantastic. Let me go out here real quick to see who's out here, and then we will jump right into the Big Brother. God, I can't believe the season's almost over. All right, Keith Frankins. Howdy, Keith. How are you doing? Yes, it is indeed Monday. Ma's out here as well. Ma, I hope you're doing fantastic. Marilyn Sutherland, Amanda Lowe, Heather Marshall. Yeah, we'll talk about that, Heather, about Matt and Jag and Boy Jane. Charlie Cummins, Jake the Horror Movie Geek. Jake, I'm excited to talk to you here just in a little bit. Michelle Moore, Lee Strack, Mark Taylor, Paula Scar, Taylor Mangus, Tim Cox. I always love to see all the names of all my friends out here. Guys, y'all are fantastic. Brian Hustler. Brian, how are you, sir? Desiree Watts, Patricia Miller. Happy birthday to you, Patricia, turning 55. Happy birthday. Hope you have a blast on your special day. Enjoy every bit of it. And thank you for spending a little time on your special day here talking to us. That makes me feel special as well. Happy birthday to you. All right, let's see who else we have on here. Got a little cough. Sorry about that tonight. It's this cold air that's suddenly getting to me. Kiki, let's see. Cindy, I think I said, but I don't mind saying again. Karen Hummer, Deborah Nail, Ken T, Terry Thomas. Let's see. Vicky Stone. Didn't want to forget you, Vicky. And let's see. Tommy Braskett. Same with you. And Noe. Am I pronouncing that right? I think I did it wrong all last week, but I try to learn. Wyatt Garrett. Wyatt, always out seeing all the country stars. It's always fun watching your posts. Norma Ace, Kim Sinclair, DP. All right, we're going to shut this down pretty quick. Lisa Fusilier, Edge, Gail Kraus. I love seeing new people and old people here. SJKHVille, Fox Alive, and I think we'll shut it. Blue Eyed Girl, and then we'll shut it down there. Ann Lindy, and Colleen. All right, we'll stop it there. If I missed y'all, sorry about it, guys, but it's cool that I can spend a whole hour just going through the comments, the hellos to begin, but y'all probably don't want to see that, right? I'm telling you, got a little cough. It got cold here, which, yeah, I'm in Houston, Texas. Those of you who are up north, y'all say, nah, you wimp, it's not even that cold. I'm just not used to it yet. After Texas summers, we had a week of fall, and now it's getting to be wintertime. All right, let's talk about some questions. Yeah. All right. A few questions. All right, first one. Heather Marshall. Yeah, I knew this was going to come up. Are you as disgusted with Matt, Jag, and Bowie Jane as I am? I was going to give my AFP vote to Matt. I hear you, but have changed my mind. I don't think I've ever wanted Felicia to win HOH so bad before. I understand exactly what you're talking about. And let me fill in others who maybe aren't aware. I'll say this. If you don't want to hear spoilers, if you don't want to hear what's happened since last night's episode, then you got to plug your ears, because it's going to be a spoiler-rich zone. All right, so for those of you who don't know, late last night, just before they went to bed, so probably midnight, a little afterwards or so, if I recall, Bowie Jane started. Felicia and Sari were downstairs playing cards in the comics room. You know, they hang out there. Well, Felicia with Jag and Matt and Bowie Jane were all upstairs. Now they went upstairs. They basically locked out Felicia and Sari. I don't know if they actually locked the door, but Matt at one point made it clear that Felicia really shouldn't come up there. The three of them sat upstairs and they drank wine all to themselves and enjoyed hanging out without Felicia and Sari there, who again were downstairs. Felicia and Sari feeling bad, feeling left out. Felicia at one point said, I don't know why they don't just invite us up there. So I felt a little bad about that. But it got a little bit worse because Bowie Jane, I think she's the one, she got mad because someone had said, I can't remember if it was Matt or Jag, that had said that Sari, I think, or Felicia, I think Felicia had said that she was fine with Matt and Jag going to the final two, but she absolutely wanted to see Bowie Jane go up and go out the door right now. Well, Bowie Jane didn't take that well, and she started talking about how she was just annoyed. She was disgusted by Felicia. She's tired of it. She's just tired of everything to do with them. So they came up with a bit of a plan. They called it the pressure cracker. And the idea is over the next few days leading up to Thursday, they're going to do everything they can to stress out Felicia, make her nervous, not able to sleep, so that come Thursday for the HOH competition, she's not going to be at her best. So she can't win it. So they think they'll be able to send her home as a result of that. So yeah, that's what's going on. And in terms of doing it, they want to play pool with Sari and be very friendly to Sari. Matt was going to tell Felicia that he wasn't really sure that Jag and Bowie Jane were locked in at sending Sari home, so that Felicia's going to worry all week that she could get sent home. And worst comes to worst, the worst part of it is first Jag, and then later he seems like he tried to talk Matt into it, saying, talk to Felicia for 2 or 3 hours. When she's ready to go to bed, start banging pots and pans. Let's keep her up all night long and stress her out so much that there's no way she can win on Monday. There you go. Now, back to the question, am I as disgusted as other people are? I don't think it's necessary. I think it's playing too hard. I feel like it's being done not for gameplay. Now, they said, oh, it's so you don't win, so she won't win. And Jag said, oh, it's just about the game. No, it's not. I think it's personal. I think it's just a little bit of a Mean Girls situation, a little bit of a Lord of the Flies situation. These three are sitting up in that HOH room and feeling very much in control, very powerful, and just deciding that they're just going to push a little hard, punish a little hard those who aren't in control. And I think they're using the game to justify something that is actually personal. So yes, I think it's beyond what's needed. I don't like it. I don't know why. I don't know why they aren't thinking more about how that's going to affect the jury or how it's going to affect them when they get out of the house, right? I mean, from a jury standpoint, I think if people in the jury hear what they did, if they find out that someone, whoever this group of three is that does it, kept Felicia up all night long, banging pots and pans just to stress her out, I think they're really going to turn on these people. And I think people watching as well are going to do so. I don't. Now, I know what happened, and I'll say this real quick, and then we'll move on because we could talk about this forever. Here's the thing. They're in the house. They feel so much that they're in power, right? They know that all three of them are safe. In fact, we had the veto ceremony today. It wasn't used. So all three of them know they're not going anywhere, that they're part of the final four. So with them having safety this week, their brains are spinning. They're getting paranoid. They're getting stressed out. They're trying to think of every possible scenario that could cause them not to make it into the final three. And so each and every one of them is saying, well, at the end, Felicia winning the HOH is the worst case situation. That's the biggest thing that could keep the three of us from making final three. And so suddenly they focus on Felicia because they see that as the biggest threat. And so they're trying to come up with anything they can do to protect it. It's not right. It's beyond what's necessary, but that's what's happening. It's their own paranoia, their own stress that is causing them to want to go after Felicia the way they are. I hope they don't do it. I hope it's just the wine talking. But if they do, keep this in mind as a silver lining. If they do it, Felicia is going to have so much more support in the jury, outside in the real world, and those three are going to lose a lot of their support. Karma's a B, right? They'll be karma to be paid for this. So I didn't like seeing that. We don't need to see that. It's a game at the end of the day. You can still be friends with the people you're playing with. All right, Mark Taylor is saying, how did Bowie get this far without a victory to until last week? It's just that kind of season. And I don't think it's been like this every season. I don't feel like it was with ours. Now, Sis got quite a ways into the game without winning anything and really without contributing either. But eventually they cut her loose. And yeah, Bowie Jane has floated this far. I think it's just the kind of season where, however it worked out, the people playing the game decided they were going to get out the biggest threat as soon as that person was recognized as the biggest threat. Riley won HOH. She's gone. Sam starts winning stuff. He's gone. Jared wins one or two things. He's gone. As soon as you show yourself to be a little bit of a comp threat, they boot you out the door. And as a result, the people who are worthless in terms of competitions, and I'm talking about, I don't know, Bowie Jane, Sari, Felicia. Yeah, I know Felicia won one, but it was just a random whatever. The people who really haven't shown that they can win any comps stick around, which maybe it's just this one season. What worries me, are we going to see this again next year? Are people going to start looking at this as a way to win Big Brother? Everyone's going to come in there and say, I don't want to be the big threat because I'll get booted just like last season. So everyone's going to be laying low. Everyone's going to be throwing the HOHs because of it. Everyone's going to think flying under the radar is the best way to win the game. That's going to be so boring. I don't want to see it. They need to make sure when they cast next year, I don't care if they're super fans, if they're recruits, whatever. They need to find people that are going to play hard and aggressively, because I think there's going to be way too many people who are just sitting back again based on what happened this year. And that's not the kind of Big Brother I like. I am disappointed. I was wanting to like this season so much, and it just hasn't been as fun as some other seasons. And I think part of it's because I feel like people who are willing to make the big moves, to take the big risk, they've gotten punished the whole time through. And now we just have people who, I've always said, if you make it to the end, you deserve it. And I'll still say that, but some people deserve it more than other people, right? We'll leave it at that. All right, Kennedy Franken, Keith, who's going home this week? This week, it's got to be Sari. I just don't see them flipping the vote to send out Felicia instead. Now, Matt wants to save Sari. Matt was in a rough situation. I really think Matt didn't do himself, I don't know. It helped his resume by winning HOH. He needed to win an HOH. I'm just amazed he didn't win one before this, but I think he needed to win one. But by winning this HOH, it kind of put him in a difficult position because he doesn't want Sari to go home, right? He would have been just as happy not to even have her on the block. But the problem is, if he had Felicia on the block and say Bowie Jane, say he said, Bowie Jane, everyone has to take their turn. You're not going anywhere because Jag's voting. I'm the tiebreaker. We're all good. So just take your turn on the block, which all sounds fine and good. But if Sari was off the block and Felicia was on the block and Sari won veto, she could pull Felicia off the block. And then you'd have Bowie Jane and Jag on the block together, with Sari and Felicia deciding which of those two went home, right? So completely disrupt that group of three's plans. So Matt really didn't have any choice except to put Sari up. But now that she's up, Matt and Jag and Bowie Jane control the vote, and they both want Sari gone. So Matt's going to lose probably his tightest person outside the three. And he didn't have an easy choice at that point in time. The easy choice would have been, let Jag win HOH, but it wasn't to be. Yeah, it's tough. But no, I think Sari's going home. I really think the only question left this season is, does the bromance last until the final two? Do we have Matt and Jag at the end? Or does Bowie Jane somehow figure out a way to finagle her way into that final two chair with either Matt or Jag? Terry Thomas is saying, would you do a game show or just reality TV shows? And then Gail Krause is saying, would you do Big Brother again? Well, first of all, yeah, I'd love to do Big Brother again. I love reality TV shows. I would do any of them. Well, probably The Bachelor and Love Island, some of those, they're probably not really pointing my direction. And I like being married, so I don't think I'd do those. But Amazing Race, Survivor, Big Brother, yeah, Naked and Afraid, which drives Sharon crazy. But yeah, I'd do any of them. It'd be a lot of fun. As far as the game shows themselves, yeah, that'd be fun. Now, there's some that I think I'd do better at than others. I actually think I'd do okay at Jeopardy. Wheel of Fortune, my specialty is math more so than letters and scrambles and all that. So I would have. I think I'd do okay. But there's Price is Right. Yeah, probably wouldn't do fantastic. Yeah, I'd love to do some of those game shows. What are the other ones out there? They don't do Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, right? We watch. I watch all of it. We watch Name That Tune and Shazam, Beat Shazam, and all that. I, so I've got a few areas of music that I know really well. Others not so much. Yeah, I do it all. I don't know why. At the end of the day, I have fun getting out there and doing new things, challenging myself. So sure, but they got to call me first. I'm sitting here lonely waiting for that phone call. All right, Lindy is saying, always like your backdoor drops, but this one is exceptional. Yeah, well, last year we actually did Cliff Notes Live on Halloween, which was kind of cool. This year, not so much. It's going to be tomorrow, but I did think that I wanted to do something a little special. Do y'all recognize what this is? You may not, but if you look, this is from the TV show or the movie Dead Set. I think it's a series. I think it's available maybe on Netflix, but it's Dead Set. It's from the UK, where basically the people are playing Big Brother. They don't realize a zombie invasion, a zombie apocalypse is taking place outside. They're still saying, when are we getting restocked for food? How come we aren't having the veto ceremony today? Without a clue of what's going on outside. Well, of course, without throwing out too many spoilers, the zombies eventually get inside. So there's your diary room. There's your diary room chair flipped over and a few choice messages up above. If you haven't checked it out, it's great. I actually told the guys during my season, my other house guest, what a cool movie it was. And they're like, yeah, okay. It was neat. If you're a Big Brother fan, check it out. It is really neat. So yeah, I thought this was a fun backdrop to do. So thank you for noticing it. I appreciate it. All right, let's see what else we've got on here. Terry says, seems like Jag will get rid of Matt. Well, he's certainly tighter with Bowie Jane. And Matt even pointed that out to Suri and Felicia because they're just poking Matt. They're saying, Matt, you see how tight they are, right? And Jack saying, yeah, Matt saying, yeah, I see it. Felicia, I think, was the one that pointed out, said, did you see Bowie Jane actually changing Jag's sheets there in the scary room? Matt said, yeah. So, yeah, I definitely think, and that's another area where winning this HOH probably didn't help Matt, because now he's upstairs in the HOH room, while downstairs you've got Jag and Bowie Jane sleeping in beds right next to each other, which just means that they can kind of whisper and talk all night long, and they just have a lot more chance to bond together. And that makes a whole lot of difference. I tell you what, when I went into the Big Brother house, I was a little disappointed. I was hoping I'd be the first group so I'd get a better choice of beds. It didn't work out. I just had to take whatever bed was available. But there was a lot during our season of a little bit of jockeying of who was sleeping where. Tommy always liked to sleep in the outside bedroom so he could keep track of who was coming in, who was going out. I always like to be close to the door so it's a little easier to get up because I've made a few more pit stops during the evening on it. But there's a lot that goes into where you're sleeping. And I think it's really paying off for Jag and Bowie Jane that they're sharing this room right now. And really, even before HOH, Matt was always still staying up in that have not room, which it's a great room to sleep in. It's cooler than the downstairs. It's nice. It's isolated. It's quiet. There's all kinds of good things about it, but it also isolates you from other people. Now, Matt maybe is in a little bit different situation because from his hearing impairment, I know he likes to have a little bit more one-on-one conversations, and it's easier to do that in the have not room. But I still think he didn't do himself any favors by staying up there instead of being down and just hanging around other people a little bit more during bedtime, because you have a lot of conversations that take place right before bedtime. I know Christy and Tommy used to whisper in the bed that was in the target room where I was, and I used to pretend like I was asleep, and I would fake snore and do it, and I could sometimes hear what they were saying, and they never had a clue. They didn't say anything that was so earth-shattering. It wasn't like when Christy overheard me. I didn't hear anything like that, but I spent a lot of time listening. I promise you that. All right. We've got Ed Brewer saying, Matt cuts Jag at 4. Bowie wins HOH 3 and takes Felicia for a Bowie Jane win. Can you believe it? Wouldn't that be a kick in the pants for Bowie Jane to win this whole thing? If she does it, good for her. Good riddance to the people who held on to her for as long as they did, considering that she didn't do anything at all. Felicia is convinced that if it comes down to her versus Bowie Jane, that she can beat Bowie Jane. So she's all on board with it. Felicia and Bowie Jane making it to the end. With Felicia being the she's 63, 65. I can't remember the older house guest. I started off saying I was going to cheer for her. Now there's a few times where I haven't been Felicia's biggest fan because I'm not always real appreciative of people who I think are playing a game very bitter and maybe being a little bit of a bitter juror and taking things a little personal. And I feel like she does all of that at times. But having said that, especially with some of the stuff that's come from the other side, if she and Bowie Jane make it, go for it. Blow up the whole season. Just go ahead and do it. And then we'll get Felicia back on an All-Stars winter season and she can compete against Josh and Derek and Cody and all of them. And do you think Felicia would ever come back in the house? I think she would. I don't think there's a chance in the world that Suri ever comes back. I think she bit off more than she could chew. Felicia, though, I think she may come back, which it would be interesting to see how she would do coming back a second time. Would she act just the way she is, or would she change things up? I don't know. It'd be fun to watch. I'd love to play. Well, would I love to play with her? Yeah, I'd play with Felicia. If nothing else, I know I'd eat pretty well. No bologna sandwiches for me while I'm in the house with Felicia. She took care of those house guests. All right, Karen Berkey saying, Matt is very off today after the ceremony. Think he figured it out too late. Now, I haven't seen the live feed. Sometimes work interferes with my big brother life. Isn't that a shame? But yeah, it is what it is. So I haven't seen it, but do you think he's finally realized that Suri's going home? Did he not realize that beforehand? Or is he seeing maybe even beyond that maybe once Suri's gone, that he may be in a little bit more precarious position with Matt and Bowie Jane? I don't know. And could you ever have a situation where Matt realizes what's going on and he approaches Felicia and says, look, I understand now what you're trying to tell me. I'm on the outs. I'm not the person that you need to be afraid of. It's those two over there. Now, the problem is, not only does Matt perhaps see Jag and Bowie Jane getting closer, he can't compete in the next HOH, which as a Final Four, and I've said this a few times on my morning shows on, at Final Four, the HOH doesn't really matter in terms of who goes home. All the HOH does, if you win HOH, it guarantees you a Final Three spot. But it's who wins the veto that decides who goes home. So Matt can still play on that. Let's just assume, because he's done it every week, the whole season, it seems like, assume Jag wins the next HOH at Final Four. Well, that means Jag's safe, right? He's going to Final Three. He could put up Bowie and Matt. He could put up Matt and Felicia, and probably he does that maybe. But then if Matt wins a veto, he pulls himself off. Jag is forced to put up the other two people. So it would still be Bowie Jane and Felicia. Now, at that point in time, if Matt has the veto, he's the sole vote to decide, is it Felicia or is it Bowie Jane that goes home to make the Final Three. You would expect that he would stick with Bowie Jane and boot Felicia. But if he feels like Jag and Bowie Jane are going to take each other to the final two, maybe he kicks out Bowie Jane and reaches some kind of a deal with Felicia that if either one of us win, we take the other one. Could be. Very, very well could be. We've still got a little game left to be played. And I hope we see some surprises. I hope it's not just a steamroll for the rest of the season. But we shall see. All right, let me check this out real quick. Mask Spoofer. Spoof, every week you're taking care of me. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support. I do this as a labor of love, but I certainly thank you from the bottom of my heart for the additional recognition. It means a lot that we get to talk out here. So thank you, Spoof. I appreciate it. All right. Cindy Hire saying, are you Danny Zuko tonight? Yeah. Sandy, stranded at the drive-in. I love me some Grease, but no, I go back another decade or so. Who do y'all think I am for Halloween? Yeah, the worst Fonzie interpretation you've ever seen. I grew up, the Happy Days started in 74, so I was like 9 years old when the Happy Days came out. I was a huge fan of Happy Days. Laverne and Shirley, Mork from Mork and Mindy, I guess it was. God, that was a fantastic lineup. At one point in time, you had not Big Brother, so I'll move on. You had Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Mork and Mindy, Fantasy Island, Love Boat, and Charlie's Angels, all mixed in on like a Wednesday night before reality TV. But they had some pretty great lineups. But yeah, I'll go with Danny Zuko. I can do that. Summer nights. Yeah, I'll hold off with the impersonations. All right, let's see what else we've got on here. Vicky Stone saying Bowie, Sari, and Felicia have all floated. Jagger, Matt deserve to win. I got no problem with that. I really, the Big Brother, the super fan in me tends to recognize the people that I feel like deserve the most to be there. And yeah, I feel even with Jag and Matt. Now Matt's done a lot. I think Matt's getting the short shrift because he's not been on the block and hasn't won that many comps. He won one HOH. He won that power that let him save Jag. He certainly is going to argue if he makes it to final two that, hey, the only reason Jag's here is because I saved him, because I won a power, because the viewing public gave me the chance to compete for that power. There's lots of things he can argue from that point in time, and he'll argue about his social game as well. Jag, what's Jag got to promote? All of his comp wins, which is fair enough. But I sometimes think when you win a lot of competitions, you don't have to play as much of a social game. And I don't know that Jag always has. I mean, he seems like he's been friendly with most people and all. He just hasn't had to play a social game. I think of my season, Jackson Mickey won so many comps that I think he played a horrible social game. He alienated a lot of people. He had people upset with him. His goodbye messages were horrific. He had horrible jury management skills, but because he was so good at the competitions, you could overlook some of that. It didn't mean he didn't deserve it. In this case, yeah, I think Jag deserves it. Even I think I picked Jag at the very beginning to win the thing. So I guess I'm going to get the star at the end for picking the right winner. But Jag, I didn't go into this season thinking he was going to be the comp beast. I just felt like he was going to be someone that everyone liked, everyone got along with. And I think that's the case. I'm not saying he's got a bad social game. He just hasn't really had to rely on his social game, which means it's a little bit unproven. And so if you get to those two guys at the end, you're going to have the comp beast over here, the social game player over here, and it's going to come down to the jury deciding which is more important to them. And I don't know. I feel like Corey may vote for who won the comps. He may be a Jag vote. And then the bitter jurors. Who knows? And you only have 5 or 7 voters this season instead of 9, which means it only takes 4 people. A couple of bitter jurors. Either way, changes this whole thing. It's going to be interesting finale night. Plus, you're going to have 3 proposals. Jared proposing to Blue, and Riley proposing to Matt, and Corey proposing to America probably proposing to Corey, actually, right? I hope not. We saw that with Swaggy and Bailey, and props to them for making it. I mean, they seem to be an incredibly happy couple, so it works out. I met them before, incredibly nice people, but I don't see how anyone could propose to someone after just a few months inside that Big Brother house, the pressure cooker that it is. So I don't want to see one proposal. I sure don't want to see 3 proposals, but it may be an interesting Thursday night. All right. Melanie Soros saying, who are you thinking for America's favorite? I don't know. I was thinking about that. Someone made that comment in my recap show this morning. I don't know. I mean, America, Cameron, Matt, I don't know who I'm going to vote. And someone mentioned earlier that now that Felicia's just been theoretically bullied and beaten on with the pots and pans and all that, not literally, but you know what I mean. I think she'll get a lot of votes as well. Here's what's going to probably happen for my America's favorite votes. I'm going to wait until the voting is announced. I'll go out to a few of the websites that rank the players. I'll see of the top 3-4 people who seem to have the best chance, who I personally feel maybe deserves it the most. And then I'll cast all my votes that way to try to make sure that person wins it. Right now, it's more who do I not want to vote for America's favorite. And I love Suri Fields as a Survivor player. I thought she was so much fun to watch on Survivor during her seasons, but I'm not voting for Big Brother because I just don't think that she's done enough in the game. So I would not vote for her. I wouldn't vote for her son Jared. I probably wouldn't vote for Blue. Who else? I probably wouldn't vote for Bowie Jane. Beyond that, yeah, we'll see. The short answer is I don't know yet. There's a few people, and it's always the issue. Do you vote for the favorite player based on how well they played the game or how well they kept you entertained? If it's just pure entertainment value, I know Felicia may be in the running. I think she's played a sloppy game. I've already said I think she's going to be a bitter juror, which I don't really like or have a lot of respect for. But that laugher, the laughing she does, the jokes she does, hey, Mr. B. And there's a lot of things that she's done that just, I find myself laughing every time Felicia is on the screen. So even her doing her toe surgery and stuff on Cerie's bed, there's just a lot of things that make me laugh and smile when Felicia's on there. So maybe she deserves it for that. I don't know yet. All right. Joe Blow is saying, it's part of the game. Felicia forced everyone to go to bed early. That's a very good point. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, she was so big into that early in the season. She's like the school marm, right? Saying, all right, guys, come on, time to get in bed. We're not putting up with this any longer. She certainly, she's set in her ways, right? Is that the best way to say it? She wanted to have just the right food, the right ingredients, to have people in bed. The difference is, I think there's a lot of people that are like that play the game of Big Brother, but most people wouldn't dare tell other people that it's time to go to bed because I want to go to sleep. They would be so worried about alienating other people or getting booted because you do that. Not Felicia. She just throws it out there. Felicia doesn't have a lot of filter, good or bad, both directions. But she was refreshing to watch in a lot of ways. I'm glad to see the older person is not just in there coasting to the end just because no one sees her as a big threat. She's actually tried to have some agency in the game, and she's become someone that people will talk about. Because she's only won that one HOH, she hasn't had a lot of control over the game. Not good control. Seems like some of her whispering and throwing Cirie under the bus. There's some things she's done that's just created a lot of chaos. She's kind of like a Frenchie that actually lasted to the end of the season instead of going out after the second week, right? Maybe not a perfect comparison, but y'all know what I mean. I've enjoyed watching her. She's been a hoot. All right, Beverly Brannon saying, do the top 5 get a bonus? Yeah, they do. And I think I'm out of contract. I'm not revealing anything that hadn't even been talked about on the show itself. So I don't think CBS will come after me at this point. Yes, I think my season was probably the first season that they did it where, for those of you who may not know, everyone gets a weekly stipend, right? As long as if you're pre-jury, you get a stipend up until you go home. And so it's not as much for those guys. Once you make it into the jury, whether you're in the Big Brother house or the jury house, it doesn't matter. You get paid the same stipend from start to finish, 13 weeks and all of that. But just as a little, I think they got tired of people saying, I just want to make jury. I just want to make jury. So they changed it. So they give you a little bonus. If you make it top 5, top 4, or top 3, you get a little extra. You get a little more for top 3 than top 4, a little more for top 4 than top 5. And then by the time you get to 2 or 3, they get what, 75,000 and $750,000. So no bonuses for 1 and 2, but 3, 4, and 5 get a little bit extra. I think that was our season. We saw it. I think Jackson and I actually discovered it in the rule book, which was always in the kitchen. And sometimes you just get so bored, you're reading through that. And I noticed that. And I remember grabbing Nicole, and we didn't want to say, hey, there's a bonus involved because, sometimes you think, oh, Big Brother's going to shut you down. So I said, hey, Nicole, come here. I need you to read about microphone usage. And we never knew this about microphones. She's like, what? And I show her, I just point to the page talking about it. And all of a sudden her eyes lit up. She's like, I didn't know that. Well, we didn't either until just a little while ago. So yeah, there is a little extra bonus thrown in And I don't know if I can talk a lot more beyond that, but yeah, they reward you a little bit extra for making it as far as you do and for putting up with as much as you do if you make it that far into the season. And again, I think it started with us. I'm not 100%, but it certainly was there for us. I think it's probably us as first. All right, Boy Mom is saying they have forgotten that they are being filmed. You're right. In some ways, that's absolutely the case. You first get in there. I remember looking around thinking, oh my God, there are cameras everywhere. You know, when I noticed the cameras in the middle of the night, if I had to get up and go to the bathroom, or when I got up in the morning and fixed coffee before anyone else was up, and I would walk from one room to the kitchen to the bathroom, and you'd hear those cameras going, turning towards you. And as you walk towards the camera, you would see it zooming in on you. And all of a sudden you'd see it start turning as you made the turn around the corner. Those were the times it became very obvious that, oh my God, how many hundreds of thousands of people are watching me walk through this dark room just to get to the bathroom or something. It's kind of a creepy feeling. Plus knowing there are people behind the mirrors and all of that. But for the most part, after a while, it just becomes the new normal, right? And you do forget about it. You become a lot more casual in your conversation. Now, for me, I remember up until even the very end, I'm older. I'm a little more established. I've got family, I've got work, I've got a profession, I've got all these things that felt like I was kind of standing there representing in that house. And so I never really forgot that the cameras are on me because I didn't want to do anything stupid, any more than I did as it was. So I always tried to be aware of it, but certainly there are people in my season that forgot they were being filmed. They did all kinds of things without worries about being filmed. Things that I would never want to do with a camera anywhere around me. But some people learn the hard way. But you're right. I think after a while, you just learn to ignore the cameras and the people behind the glass. And in some ways, maybe that's better because I think you see the true nature of people come out, although you don't really get the true nature when you're inside a house playing a game that is designed to bring out the absolute worst in people. And that's why we started off this show talking about Jag and Bowie Jane and Matt and how maybe we're a little disgusted at what they do. As I've said before in other episodes of this, I will not judge anyone in that house on what they do while they're in the house, because I understand that it brings out sometimes the worst in people that may not truly represent who they truly are. You could have the nicest person in the world, but in a bad situation, they may say and do things that aren't their best moments. Every single one of us has had one moment in time where we did or said something that we absolutely regret and will regret forever and ever. How would you like to have that one worst moment be recorded on TV forever with everyone watching and criticizing it? And I think sometimes some of that happens on Big Brother. So I will not judge who they are in real life based on what I saw in the house. I look forward to meeting them and finding out who they truly are. But that doesn't mean I can't still be a little judgmental about what happens inside the house. And I'm taking advantage of that right now because I'm judging a little bit. All right. Let's see what else we've got on here. Ed Brewer saying Bowie is low-key playing a masterful game. You know what? We forget that she's an attorney. She's not. I still think it was silly to try to claim that you're younger than you were. I don't think she knew there'd be older people in the house when she went in. But other than that, whatever gets you to the end, gets you there, right? She complained a little bit, and I think it's a valid complaint. She said, I started off this game. Everyone discounted me. They wouldn't talk to me. They just treated me as a secondhand person. I'd come in and say, what's the plan? And they'd say, oh, don't worry about it. We'll tell you when we decide. And they really went out of their way to exclude Bowie Jane and not take her seriously. Now, is that her fault? Perhaps. At least some of it. I think it probably was. But I also feel like for the longest time, people didn't give her any respect because she was considered a lone wolf that didn't have any connections. Well, now that she has some connections, people are critical of that. Felicia and Cirie have just gone on and on saying, that Bowie Jane, she's following them everywhere. She's hanging out with them all the time. Well, yeah, that's what you do when you want to try to stay tight with your alliance. You hang out with them. You don't give them a chance to not hang out and maybe say things that you don't want to be saying and all that. So she kind of was treated poorly when she was by herself. Now that she's with a group, she's still being treated a little bit poorly. In some ways, there's no winning for Bowie Jane. Even yeah, she won a couple of competitions. Even that people say, it's because other people threw it, and she's like the Rodney Dangerfield of this season. I get no respect. I get no respect at all. I think that's Bowie Jane to some degree. If she makes it to the end, if she can convince Matt or Jag not to take the other one and to take her instead, brilliant. I would go for it. You got to final two chair. You did better than I did during my season. So how can I criticize the method she used to get there? It is what it is. All right, let's see what else we've got on here. Mary Miranda, thank you so much. She said, howdy, Cliff. Love your Cliff Notes. Thank you. Me and my sisters, Diana and Tamara, watch each morning at work. Oh, thank you so much. Big Brother season is our favorite time of the year. I appreciate the support, Mary. It means a lot. Thank you for it. Yeah, it's been weird this year with Big Brother moving on into football season and October and getting ready to be November. It just doesn't have that summer feel, does it? They aren't. We haven't seen them hanging out around the pool nearly as much as you see from any other season. And I don't think that's just because it's older players. It's just had a different tone this season because of the late start. But there's a little different variety as a result of it. All right, let's see. Hillary Harrington saying, Bowie hid the wine and beers and wouldn't share with the mamas. Selfish. Yeah, what they have 2 bottles, I think. I know at one point they're saying, we need 6 bottles for if we really want to drink it and all that. I don't know. It's during our season, there was a point where it was Nicole and myself, Mickey and Holly and Tommy, the final 5. It was a little stressful at times. Yeah, we knew someone was going home, and we were doing our best to stay on everyone's best behavior and all that. But we were all stressed out, and yet we still managed to sit outside with several bottles of wine and shared wine and reminisced about the season and treated each other with respect and like we're friends and all. And I'm glad we did. But yeah, she wouldn't share it. And I think that really hit home with Felicia. And then Felicia, I think it was yesterday, she was complaining. She said, I'm going to go tell them that Big Brother isn't giving us any more alcohol because they're saying there's 2 bottles still in the house. So Boy Jane, where are those bottles? Because you're the one that's keeping us from getting more alcohol. You need to drink it or share it or whatever, be done with it. And I don't know if that's actually the case or not, but yeah, I know. And then at one point, Matt yesterday said, well, I know we said we're going to share a little bit of this wine with Sari, but she's going home in 3 days anyway. So who cares? It's not about the wine itself. It's about everyone just coming together. Sometimes when you get those deliveries of wine and beers and everything, it's just something that gives everyone a chance in that house to take a break. Maybe it's only 30 minutes or so. Take a break from playing the game. Everyone gets to come in and celebrate together as a big group, drink some beers, laugh, do whatever. Just stopping playing the game for just a little bit and coming together. And by hiding the wines, by making it part of the game, you lose that benefit. And that's unfortunate for all 5 of them in the house, unfortunately. All right, Colleen is saying, has been a ridiculous season. It's been a crazy season, starting with all the unanimous votes. I saw a thing showing how many unanimous votes there have been, and I think there's probably been more than just about any other season. There has been very, very few, only a few votes cast against the House. And is it because again you're getting out these big threats and everyone else is scared not to join in with those votes? Yeah, I'm ready for a little bit of a change. I've heard people say, let's not reveal the vote count. Just say so and so you're evicted, and you don't know whether it was 5-5 or 10-0 either way. And that way someone potentially could cast a vote, even if they know that everyone else is voting the other way. They could cast the vote and know that they're not going to necessarily have the finger pointed at them or accused that, oh, you aren't really supporting the House. I don't know. We haven't we haven't seen any surprises, have we, this year in terms of blind sides at the actual vote? I can't think of any. Well, we almost got one with the blue, but even with that, we saw Felicia told her ahead of time. Now, I'll say this. Did Felicia tell Blue ahead of time as a bit of a jury management tool? Maybe so. But I also saw the way Felicia said that. I just feel like Felicia was just being nice to Blue. You develop these bonds, and I really think, gameplay aside, Felicia just didn't want to see Blue blindsided on live TV that she was going home. And for that reason, I didn't have huge issue with it. Even as much as a viewer, I would have enjoyed seeing the blind side. I'm okay with Felicia telling her, I got blindsided my season. No one told me I was going out the door over Nicole. So I know what it's like, but it's not easy. But yeah, those unanimous votes have been made it a little bit more boring this season, right? All right, we've got Ma saying, let's not forget that Blue was called a comp beast after only winning one luck-based competition. Yeah, wasn't that the case? And she didn't let anyone forget about it, did she? Blue, the eternal optimist, before she won and after she won, she was telling Jag and Matt, all right, this next one's for me. I'm going to win the next one. I'm going to send. She had it all worked out what she was going to do. Yeah, she came close on a couple of them, right? And really, she should have even been able to win more than she did. But yeah, it just didn't work out. I've seen on social media, a lot of people complaining that these comps this season have really been designed or to the advantage of the big, tall, athletic kind of people. We saw that one, was it Matt winning the HOH or the veto, running into the ball pit? I guess that was HOH for the double, running into that ball pit and then dropping the balls. No one else had a chance. Having to run that quick with a quick stride certainly helped him. Being able to lean over and drop your ball from a much closer distance to the tube than anyone else, that was just seemed like it was guaranteed Matt victory from start to finish. So we've got comps like that I just look at and say, God, that's just, it is kind of unfair. But then I look at comps like they showed on the TV episode last night, where you're rolling balls down a ramp and trying to knock over deals. That could have been anyone's game. And yet you still have Matt winning that thing over anyone else. I know during my season, I really was counting on a lot more mental comps at the end. I say, yeah, I know they do physical comps, but towards the end, it's going to be a little bit more evenly balanced with the mental comps. Well, we never really got that. I think the new era of Big Brother puts much more focus on the physical challenges at the expense of some of us who maybe aren't quite as athletic as the Division I athletes and swimmers and soccer players and some of the other people that we encounter in that house during our season. So yeah, it's unfortunate. All right, what else do we have on here? 7:50 already. I'm trying to get to all these guys. Marion saying, when did you think of doing a YouTube channel, and did you talk about it in the house? Nah, I had no clue I was in the house. There were a lot of people in my season that were all like, oh, I'm going to be an influencer. I'm going to do this and that. I'm going to just not even get a real job. I'm just going to, that's probably not fair because there are influencers out there that would tell me it is a real job, but y'all know what I mean, right? I'm going to just represent 100 different brands. I'm not doing any of that. I was like, all right, hopefully I win the money, and if I do, maybe I'll be a little bit slower getting back to work. But once that didn't happen, I said, I got to get back to work. I got a family to take care of and all of that. So now I didn't think about doing a YouTube channel at all. Where it actually happened was while everything was shut down for COVID, right? And no one's doing anything. And I think I was watching the Big Brother season, the All-Star season, and Nicole reached out to me. Was it Nicole? I think it was Nicole reached out and said, hey, I'm on this channel. I do a little show, and they've asked if you'd want to do one as well. It's like, I don't know, maybe. And so they reached out to me and said, Cliff, we'll pay you a little bit. It wasn't much, but we'll give a little bit of money if you just want to do a little YouTube show. And so I said, all right, well, sure. And so at first when I was doing it Monday and Wednesdays, which is easier with COVID shut down and all that. Nowadays, that'd be tough. But I did it twice a week and did that for, I don't know, 50 episodes, 6 months or something. And then that channel ended up going bankrupt or go in a different direction. They cut loose all the reality TV people and try to concentrate on movies or something. I don't even think they're around anymore. But right towards the end, they said, hey, Cliff, we're also now partnering with YouTube. So we're going to show your show on our channel and on the YouTube channel as well. Can you advertise for YouTube? Yeah, sure. So I ended up doing that. It started out on YouTube as just a simulcast of the actual channel to try to get people to go from YouTube over to their channel. Well, it didn't work out that way. When they shut down, then I said, all right, well, I'm already on YouTube. I'll just keep doing it here. So it was just kind of an organic switch over here to do this show. And I've been doing it ever since. So that was 2020. So yeah, coming up on 3 years. In fact, was this episode 152? So episode 156, I guess, will be my 3-year anniversary. We may have to do something special. That's 4 weeks away. I got to think about that. Y'all give me y'all's thoughts. Send me DMs or something. What can we do a little bit special to celebrate 3 years of Cliff Notes Live? Because it deserves some kind of celebration, right? That probably doesn't involve bottles of wine that I'll be drinking all by myself. Yeah, I won't do that. All right. Let's see. A few more here. Chris G saying, Matt hasn't needed to win that many comps and has a better social game. I agree. I absolutely agree. Some people will say that he rode Jag's coattails, and maybe so, but I think he also kind of protected Jag's 6, if you know what I mean. I mean, from a military term standpoint, protecting your 6, that's a person that's keeping watch to make sure no one sneaks up from you behind. I feel like Matt did a pretty good job while Jag's winning all this stuff. Matt was kind of working with them, keeping people calm, bringing back information. Matt certainly played his role as well. It didn't require him to win competitions. And in the beginning, if you're safe anyway, why win them, right? But in the end, if you haven't won those comps, are people going to look down on you when it comes to pitching in front of a jury? And that may be what he's facing a little bit now. Some people are going to say, well, you only won 2 comps. I don't care how good your social game is. You rode the coattails of Matt or of Jag. Now think back to my season. We had some of those accusations with Holly and Jackson Mickey. There are people that accused Holly of basically riding Jackson's coattails. She won a couple of comps, but not nearly as many as he did. And so there were some accusations of that. And I think she said at one point about, I didn't ride his coattails. I was the one behind pulling the leash to keep him from getting out of control. I controlled him from behind, which is funny because that was going to be the same speech that I used about Jackson Mickey. I was actually going to say, picture Jackson Mickey as the donkey. I'm the guy in the cart. Just because he's doing all the work, does that mean he's in control? Or does the guy with the stick and the carrot sitting in the cart, is that the person that's in control? You know, who the person doing the hard work isn't necessarily the person that deserves it. So that was going to be kind of my pitch. I never got there, but there you go. All right. Jacqueline Lentz is saying, do you think there'll be a bitter jury? Yeah, I think so. I think at least a few will be bitter. Corey, I don't think he'll be bitter. America, I don't know. Felicia, yeah, I think so. Sari, yeah, I think so. Blue, yeah, I think so. So yeah, I think there'll be half the jury will be bitter. I could see that. I truly could. Bowie Jane said she's worried that that she can't ever win because everyone's going to be mad at her, that she's responsible for getting America out. So America won't vote for her. Corey won't vote for her as a result of it. She got Cameron out. So Cameron will be upset with her. And who else? I can't remember who else she said. But she thinks there's 4 people that are going to be bitter. I don't know that Cameron or Corey are going to be bitter jurors. I think that they'll actually kind of rise above it, so to speak, and vote for who they think deserves it. But there'll be some bitter jurors on there, which I kind of hate to see, but it's part of the game. All right. Kim Sinclair is saying, how much of this evil plan against Felicia has Matt now concerned about what Riley might think? He's talked about Riley quite a bit, hadn't he? Maybe that someone mentioned before that he was looking a little down. Maybe he realized that last night they pushed a little further than they should. Maybe he's second guessing, which fair enough. Maybe it was just that little bit of wine that went to their heads and cooler heads will prevail for the rest of the week. I hope so, but I don't know. That Riley situation is so weird. They were only hanging out with each other for a couple of weeks, right? And it didn't seem like when she left that, I mean, maybe she thought he was nice and something could happen afterwards, but it sure didn't seem like they were just Romeo and Juliet in love with each other, right? And now for it to suddenly happen, I imagine as soon as Riley getting out of the house, them saying, "Hey, Riley, would you like to write an HOH letter to Matt? And maybe if you got a picture, for all you know, they photoshopped her in with his mom or something. But what if Riley wrote that nice little HOH letter and all of that? And then she got home and she said, yeah, I've been here a month. I think I'm okay without Matt. Matt is so pumped up, so hyped up. And meanwhile, Riley is somewhere going, oh my God, this guy thinks that we're going to be dating when he gets out there. And I've moved on. I'm not saying that's the case. I've not talked to Riley since she got out of the house. I have no clue what her life is like. But it just seems weird that he should be so engaged in a possibility that you don't know what's been going on with her other than one HOH letter that could have been written a long while back. I don't know. We'll find out. Again, it could be an interesting finale night. All right, 7:50 hour. We'll give you the last couple done. Kendra saying, if you were in the house this season, who would be your number one? Oh, I guess it depends on what side of the house I was on. I think I would have ridden with a couple of people that were playing a little harder, thinking that they would be the bigger targets than I would, and that I could be the loyal soldier playing a little bit of a role like that Matt played. I don't know. I may have tried to make something work with Cameron because he was such a beast at the beginning, and I feel like Cameron valued loyalty. As long as you didn't burn him, I feel like he probably wouldn't burn you. He didn't play a perfect game either, but I feel like I could have ridden with him a little bit and gotten protection from him for all those victories he had, while still keeping myself spaced away from him enough that I could carry on a social game and be attached to everyone else. So maybe him. Hi Sam, I don't think Hi Sam and I would necessarily vibed a little bit. I don't know if he would have wanted to work with me necessarily. So maybe not as much Hi Sam, but I could see Cameron maybe. But you don't know until you get in there and you just start interacting with people. I would have never guessed that Nicole and I would have been the two that ended up working together during our season. And yet it just happened. We just got along with each other, right? And we respected each other. We valued each other. And I don't know that you can always say that until you get in the house and see. But just to throw a name out there, it could have been Cameron. I would have maybe leaned that direction. Perhaps. Or maybe Jag as well. Either one of those probably. All right, Granny Walker saying, where is the round table that the house guests talk about the game located? A good question, and we'll finish it up with that. It's on the CBS lot. It's actually, do you know where they had like the nether region where they were in that neighborhood? The houses were there, and I think that's the one that Hi Sam ended up winning, beat Jared on. Right over in that area, like maybe just a couple of 100 feet away from where those houses are, is a bit of an open area on the CBS lot. And that's where it was all set up. I showed up, I got booted on a Thursday, had that round table on a Friday. I showed up, there's lights everywhere. There's people there. There must've been 100 people around there filming and doing coordinating and whatever TV show people do. And they kept me off to the side. I couldn't say anything because they really did want it to be a surprise when I came out. So I had to be super quiet. What I remember about that night as much as anything else is we're right by the Burbank airport, and Dr. Will kept trying to have conversations and ask questions, and planes just kept flying overhead. And every time that happened, they would have to stop, wait till it was gone. Then he'd ask the question again. So it was several hours worth of conversation that took place, but it takes place on the Burbank lot, like right there, maybe a couple of hundred yards, maybe from the Big Brother house at most. Probably more like a couple 100 feet. It's close by. So yeah, it's there on the lot. All right, guys, with that, I think we'll shut it down. It is 8 o'clock. So I love doing this stuff with y'all. I hope I tried to get to as many questions as I could. If I missed them, send me a DM on Twitter or Instagram. I answer just about everything. So send me a question. I'll answer it. We'll chat some more about it. But in the meanwhile, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I will be back again tomorrow morning to give y'all a recap of what happens overnight. I'll be back again next Monday for our first Cliff Notes Live in November. In the meanwhile, as I mentioned in the first program, if you haven't done so already, please consider going out there, subscribing to my channel, turning on notifications, throwing a big thumbs up there if you don't mind. And it's always appreciated. And as far as Mary, Miranda, and Mass Spoofer, thanks to both of you. I absolutely appreciate the support. I appreciate the support of all of y'all. Guys, y'all have a great one. Until tomorrow morning or next Monday, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.